What's up, everyone? Welcome to another UFC Quick Picks here on the Mayo Media Network. We have UFC 308 this weekend. Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway in the main event. Mayo versus Whitaker in the co-main event. That's 5 rounds as well. Great slate, 13 fights. It is an early start, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, and I'm here to give you my favorite cash game play, tournament play, salary play, and a matchup I like as well on this DraftKings slate. Let's get right into it. My favorite cash game play of the week is going to be Max Holloway down at 7.4K. Holloway is the underdog in the main event, plus 200, plus 205 against Topuria, depending on where you look. The fight is minus 130, under 4.5 rounds, minus 120, 3.5 rounds, over 3.5 rounds. So it's not projected to go the full distance, but it's projected to go 15 to 20 minutes at least. And, you know, I'm skeptical that Topuria's odds to win inside the distance are as strong as the current odds indicate that they are, considering Holloway has never been knocked down in nearly 100 UFC rounds, never been never been knocked out. So I don't know that Topuria actually is going to knock Holloway out at a 50% rate, considering Holloway hasn't been knocked down once in 100 UFC rounds. But regardless, at 7.4K, Holloway has one of the better floors on paper. We know he's an insane volume striker. He is going to throw and land a lot of strikes in theory, and it's just a cheap price tag. And once you get below the Holloway tier, there's a lot more concerns with Ige, Leal, Rebecca Dos Anjos, Rakic, Hugo, Barnett, etc. Holloway is a clear standout in terms of floor. Yes, he's a big underdog, but with 5 rounds to work with, give me Max Holloway every day of the week at 7.4K. He's an easy cash game salary saver and allows you to load up on some other stars that you like. All right, tournament play of the week. I will go out on a limb here and pick Abus Magomedov at 8.4K. There's a lot of really good fights that could be fight of the week, and this is one of them against Bruno Ferreira, because I'm going to have a bunch of Ferreira as well. Ferreira profiles as a early knockout artist. He's won by knockout in round 1 in 4 of his last 5 fights, and Magomedov has been dropped in both of his UFC losses. So I definitely think Ferreira could knock out Magomedov early. I'm also hoping the public kind of gravitates more toward Ferreira in this matchup. And it's not that there's anything wrong with Ferreira. It's just that he's really small. He's a really small middleweight. He's 5'10". Magomedov's going to be a lot bigger than him at 6'2". And Bruno Ferreira has never been out of past the 6-minute mark in 13 pro fights. And that's kind of a major red flag for me, especially as someone who's thrived on early KOs. His one loss in the UFC is a first-round KO. Magomedov isn't great, but Magomedov's gone the distance many times, just landed 6 takedowns en route to a decision win against Warlley Alves. Magomedov's also probably the better distance striker. He's got a lot of knockouts on his record. I think 14 knockouts for Magomedov. He's a dangerous striker. I think he also could hurt Bruno Ferreira early. I think he's more likely to earn top control. And if this fight extends into round 2 and round 3, I feel more confident that Magomedov will have cardio available, where Ferreira, I feel like, given his small build, explosive nature, I'm just not sure that he's going to be impactful past the first round. So it's a competitive fight. Magomedov is only minus 145 or so to win. He is plus 120 to win inside the distance, though. That's a pretty strong mark. And 8.4K. So it's a really strong mid-range. I like building off the mid-range this week, and there's several fights in this mid-range that I will be targeting. This is one of them, even on the Ferreira side, but I do prefer Magomedov. I like him as the bigger fighter, the fighter more capable of fighting into an extended matchup, good distance striker as well, and I think equal or better durability than Ferreira. So give me Magomedov for a win inside the distance at 8.4K. All right, next up, my salary play of the week. This one is tough. I'm going to just give you a cheap fighter who I think has a little bit better chance to excel than his current odds, and that's Mateusz Rebecki at 7.1K. Again, it's another fight that could be the fight of the night or could have been the matchup of the week. On this video, I really like Orobai as well, and Orobai is a bigger favorite, will be the more popular target, and I'll probably have a lot of exposure to Orobai as well. He's 9.1K, Rebecki's 7.1K. Orobai is a minus 309 favorite currently. And And he's primarily that big of a favorite because Rebecki just lost while gassing out in the third round, was taken down, was TKO'd. So I totally understand why Orolbai's the favorite and probably has better cardio than Rebecki, as a grinding style that potentially could present the same opportunities that Ferreira got in his last matchup with Rebecki. So I think if Orolbai wins, good chance it comes with grappling, good chance it comes inside the distance. He's smashed in his 2 DraftKings wins. No problem with targeting Orolbai. It's just that Orolbai also slows down, and like in his last fight, Orolbai was taken down 3 times in the third round by Elvis Brenner. And like Mateus Rebecki is powerful and can wrestle. And I worry a little bit that Rebecki's going to have success early on in this fight. And Rebecki himself has a great DraftKings ceiling, 112, 122, 104 in his 3 wins on DraftKings. He is minus 300 to win inside the distance. That's not terrible for 7.1K. I think there's going to be leverage against Orolbai. And ultimately, yeah, he can land big strikes, he can grapple, and he can have success potentially doing both things. And maybe his cardio won't be as big of a factor here, considering Orolbai also gets tired. Again, it's a great matchup, one I'll be very heavy on in total. I think Orolbai is going to be a pretty popular target publicly at 9.1K, and I understand why. He's a bigger fighter, theoretical cardio advantages late in the fight, but he's shown similar issues to Rebecki. At 7.1K, I'm willing to take some chances there, especially given the additional leverage against Orolbai. All right, and finally, my matchup of the week, going back to the mid-range here with Ibo Aslan versus Rafael Cerqueira. Probably going to be another popular fight, though it's near pick'em here. Cerqueira is now minus 126, Aslan plus 110. Aslan's 8.2K, Cerqueira is 8K, so there's value on Cerqueira right now. He's also going to be my pick to win. It's just an interesting matchup because Cerqueira is like 11-0, but there's almost no footage of him available, and I'm having to go out there and watch highlight reels of his finishes just to gather some data. Ibo Aslan has there's similarly a lack of data on his side, to where he won in his UFC debut against Anton Turkalj, but Turkalj is the same fighter who gave Aslan his last loss on the regional scene, and in between those 2 fights, Aslan had won a handful of times by first round KO, and just there's not a lot of data to gather, so there's a lot of question marks on this fight, but ultimately it's minus 600 to end inside the distance. Cerqueira has a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and the last time we saw Aslan on the ground against Turkalj on the regional scene, he was instantly mounted, got his back taken, and was choked out, and we just haven't seen him taken down again since. He just defended 8 takedowns against Turkalj in his UFC debut, so perhaps he's just improved there and can keep the fight upright and can knock Cerqueira out. But I think on paper, Cerqueira has a sizable grappling advantage, and if he gets Aslan down, it could just result in the finish. I also think both guys have knockout ability. Aslan hasn't really been past the first round too often. He got a little bit tired in his last fight. There's definitely a decent chance Cerqueira will get tired past the first round as well. So ultimately, we're just projecting an early finish here, one way or the other. It's minus 120, minus 115 on 1.5 rounds. So an extended fight does give me some concern, as the fight would probably bust in that instance, but decent chance it ends early. And I like Cerqueira currently more than Aslan at 8K, given the value, given the wrestling advantage. But Aslan's a powerful striker, just went into the third round in his last fight, and certainly has early KO upside as well. Great mid-range fight to target this week. All right, that's going to do it for this week's UFC Quick Picks. Thank you so much for the support. You can follow me on Twitter, Appley, TTP, EstablishTheRun.com for all your DraftKings breakdowns needs. Just went about 2 hours with my boy Gordo Gambles breaking down every fight on this DraftKings slate, breakdowns, projections, rankings, all that good stuff for you on EstablishTheRun.com. Really appreciate the support. Thanks to Pat and the team as well for having us on the channel. And best of luck. We will talk to you all again soon. Peace.